In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself to. When you reach the front desk, ask with no hesitation to visit someone who calls himself the Holder of Darkness. The worker will mock you, but you have to stay as calm as possible. Keep asking him until he stops denying and withdraws from his counter to guide you through the corridors. As his behaviour changes radically, stay on guard. But if you hear one single tiny sinister hiss, you should turn around and flee as far as you can, covering your ears, because the timing was bad. If you do not escape in time, the faint sound will turn into a dreadful growling that will soon merge into a continuous shriek of sheer pain until madness floods you and leaves you to die in deafening agony. If the warden remains silent, he will lead you to a closed door with neither handles nor lock. As he pushes it open effortlessly, you will see an ascending winding staircase which can't possibly lead to any upper floor of the establishment. The door will close behind you, and you will not be able to push it back. Past this point, climb up, and do not turn back, for you will fall into a bottomless pit, waiting for living prey to chew upon. Do not count the steps, for knowing how many there are will drive you to insanity. One will then creak. At that point, you should stop. Another door should appear to you on your left. If it is on your right, then pray for a swift passing. Enter slowly into the room, and a blinding, obscuring darkness shall descend upon you. You will be required to walk straight forward, for straying even slightly will lead you to be devoured by the roaming and unknown creatures observing you with their blinded and purulent eyes. You will know you have arrived when coldness grips you. At that very moment, freeze, or you will die by the hands of the holder who is standing right in front of you. In complete darkness, even closing your eyes will not prevent you from his horrid appearance. It will form into your mind as the most outrageous monster ever conceived, and madness will try creep into your brain as worms over a decaying corpse. His fulminating breath and constant mumbling would be enough to make you cry, but be advised not to utter anything louder than a weeping, for you might wake what must not be awakened. The only question you will be able to whisper without being torn apart will be, what do they fear? You will feel movements all around you as shudders animate your opponent. You will hear what nameless and incurable diseases will strike the world if they were to be frightened. The countless terrors their own fright will unleash on those with a weaker mind than theirs. Amidst the atrocious enumeration of the endless sores of the world will suffer, you will hear the simplest, most ridiculous, yet implacable and certain truth they all fear. You outside of the ward. There, in the open, in the grass, a broken hourglass will wait for you. You are free to pick it up. This is object number 13 of 538. Your knowledge of their fear is up to you to share, but you may not want to use it as a weapon against them. In any city, in any country, venture across the highways and lonely roads of the slums, or the bad part of town. Should you come across a scruffy man holding a bottle of liquor in a paper bag, his shirt sweat-stained and his pants muddied, do not be afraid to ask him if he knows of the one who calls himself the Holder of Adversary. More than likely, he will smile knowingly at you, like an old friend with whom you've just shared an inside joke. Do not be alarmed, the man knows of the one you search for. The less fortunate of us sometimes seem to know these things. He will guide you to a manhole and casually slide the metal lid off with one grimy boot, tossing you a small flashlight which flickers curiously. He will urge you down into the darkness. Once inside the depths of the sewage system, you will come to realise that it bears no unpleasant scent. No scent whatsoever, in fact. But turning on the flashlight and gazing on your surroundings, you will realise you are in a round room. On the walls, hanging partially decomposed bodies, their owners forever suspended in a state of half-awareness, feeling all the pain and horrors of being trapped inside these corpses. Corpses litter the floors, and you notice that one nearly touches you. You want to shrink away, but all at once, the smell arrives. It is the most awful thing you could ever have imagined. Human and animal excrement, sulphur, rotting bodies, burning flesh. You are momentarily paralysed by the horror of it, and when you recover, you will do your best to will yourself not to throw up. A thought appears in your head. We are the remains of the ones who could not face the adversary. You gulp, fearful, and stare around you, searching for the source of the voice. But suddenly the bodies begin to explode, one by one, releasing more of the horrible scent and bathing you in bodily fluids and chunkier things you'd rather not know the names of. The corpses sink onto the floor, and what will rise out of that slimy mess is a creature of pure beauty. Whether man or woman, it depends on yourself. You cannot shake your gaze from this gorgeous, naked human until you realise this is a portrayal of you, the best that you could be. Confident, smiling a gentle, patient smile. They have everything you could ever wish for yourself to become. You are overcome by sudden jealousy, a total anger, and need to destroy this perfect you. Do not do it. If you do, you are doomed to the adversary's wrath, the eternal torment of the damned you have witnessed prior. Only one question comes to mind to ask the exquisite creature. What could they destroy? The holder of adversary chuckles melodically, condescendingly, and explains to you, as though you are a small child, exactly the answer to your question. It spares no details, even the most horrific. Strangely, however, the story is interesting and calming to listen to, and you find yourself absorbed in a childlike fascination with the holder. You liken the holder's story to one told to you by a loved one, or a guide when you were a child, and you know that you now have the key to defeating the adversary, that which the damned could not acquire. What will you do now, my child? The holder asks you, smiling pleasantly, as it places an object in your palm and closes your hand around it. You mustn't open your hand until you are free of this place, says the holder, as a fitting goodbye. Once having escaped from the sewers, you open your fingers, which feel strangely stiff. You hear the echo of the perfect you's laughter swimming around you as you look at the object in your hand. It is a green plastic army man toy. This is object number 14 of 538. It understands how to defeat your greatest enemy and must never be allowed to join the rest. In any city, in any country, Go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself to. When you reach the front desk, ask to visit someone who calls himself the holder of the past. At the last syllable of your sentence, his eyes should open wide and stare at you, as if he was attempting to see past your skin into your soul. Don't ask any questions, because he will not speak to you, and in the case that he does, you will wish he hadn't. He will take you down a long hallway, and you will walk with him for what will seem like hours. Stare straight ahead the entire time, for if you look at the floor, walls, or ceiling of the hallway, you will run into a dead end, and the worker will pursue you with hellish bloodlust until you are completely disemboweled. After exactly 350 paces, the worker will stop, turn around, and pull a watch out of his pocket. He will turn the dial backwards 1 hour, and at that point, you will have 1 hour to complete your task. If you don't, then there are no words to describe your fate. The lights will go out for exactly 3 seconds, and when they turn back on, you will be in a room with no doors, and a red-tinted skylight shaped like a pentagram. This will cast a blood-red star in the middle of the room, where a splintered cherry table with 2 seats will be. Sitting at the seat closest to you, look up, look down, and a man with long, dirty black hair will be face down on the table. He will answer to one question: where did he once stand? The man will speak not of a place that exists on any map, but will describe the room in painful, grotesque detail. Pay very close attention. He will enumerate exactly how many of what horrible objects hang from spears protruding from the walls. You will have the rest of the hour to find the room and sit in his throne. If you fail, I suggest you become armed heavily. His throne is object 15 of 538. If brought together, he may once again return